So if you guys have been following my channel over the last few months, you may have noticed that I've made quite a few videos on Nintendo's Special Edition systems. And since we've now looked at pretty much every Special Edition system for Nintendo's handheld consoles, I thought it would be a pretty damn good idea to compile all of the very best Special Edition variants into the one video. So that's what we're going to be doing today. I have picked out my top 10 favorite Special Edition systems for Nintendo's handheld consoles, and in no particular order, we're just going to go through each of them and admire how amazing they are. But before we get into the 10 best Special Edition systems, I just wanted to quickly shout out a few systems that didn't quite make the cut for this list, but are still amazing in their own right. For the Game Boy Advance SP, we've got the SpongeBob Edition and the Mario Edition. For the 3DS, we've got the Zelda 25th Anniversary Edition and the Club Nintendo Toad Edition. For the 3DS XL, we've got the Pikachu Edition. For the new 3DS XL, we've got the Zelda Hyrule Edition, the Zelda Majora's Mask Edition, and the Monster Hunter X Hunting Life Edition. And for the new 2DS XL, we've got the Pokeball Edition, the Hylian Shield Edition, and the Animal Crossing Edition. These are all still amazing Special Edition systems in their own right, but they just didn't make the list because cutting it down to only 10 systems is pretty damn hard when there's so many great Special Edition systems in Nintendo's handheld library. So quick shout out to those systems, but now let's get into the 10 best Special Edition systems. The Game Boy Advance SP Classic NES Edition. In my opinion, this system will forever be one of the all-time great Nintendo Special Edition systems. It just does everything right. The outer shell of this system is essentially just designed to mimic the outer shell of the NES consoles, so you've got the dark grey lines on the right-hand side there, and then they also changed the Nintendo logo to be red, similar to that of the original NES. But what makes this system great is not the outer shell, but instead the design on the inside of the system. So opening up the system, you can see that the inside is designed to represent the NES controller, and it just looks absolutely amazing. You've got the red A and B buttons, and then they also added a black texture to the plate here, which mimics the design of the NES controller. And if you look at pretty much all Game Boy Advance SP Special Editions from the time, there's nothing that even comes close to this design. And I really love that the system both represents the actual NES console itself on the outer plate as well as the controller on the inside. So without a doubt, this is an absolutely amazing Special Edition console, and I wish I owned one. So if someone out there has one and wants to give it to me, that would be fantastic. The Game Boy Advance SP Zelda Edition. So compared to the NES edition, this is definitely a much more simpler design. It really is just a gold Game Boy Advance SP with a Triforce slapped on the middle of the outer shell here. And honestly, that's all this system needed to be. This was the Zelda Special Edition system that set the standard for everything that came after it. Because you can kind of see with basically all of the Zelda Special Editions that they really did take inspiration from this design, and in some cases pretty much outright copied it. So I think this is an absolutely amazing and classic Special Edition system, which was absolutely ahead of its time when it came out. There was just nothing else quite like this system. The Game Boy Micro Famicom Edition. This system just rocks. I absolutely love the color scheme on it. You've got the gold faceplate with that nice bright red trim along the outside. There's not much more to say other than this system just looks really good. And if you compare it to the Famicom controller itself, it is pretty faithful to that. You can see it's got the A and B outlines above the buttons themselves. It's got that little eye symbol in the top left corner, and there's two black lines running horizontally across the gold plates. So it resembles the actual controller itself pretty well. I will say though that the controller doesn't have a full gold faceplate. You can see the top right corner of that controller is red, which isn't resembled on the Game Boy Micro. But in my opinion, having the full gold faceplate on the Game Boy Micro just looks way better anyways, so that's not even a criticism really. And other than that, there's really nothing bad to say about this system. It's just a great Game Boy Micro Special Edition, and when you compare it to all of the other Game Boy Micro Special Editions we got, it really is way better than them, so this is definitely an all-time great Special Edition. The Nintendo DS Lite Mario Edition. Similarly to the Game Boy Advance Zelda Edition, this is a pretty simple design. It's just a red DS Lite with the Mario M logo slapped on the bottom right corner of the front plate. And this one's mainly on the list just because I feel like it's one of the most iconic Nintendo Special Edition systems of all time. I really feel like anyone who grew up in the DS Lite era probably has seen this thing around and can remember it. On top of that, this was the first Mario edition to kind of use this Mario red color, which really did set a trend because we've seen that with the Wii and the Nintendo Switch as well. Those definitely take a lot of inspiration from this initial design. So I feel like this is again one of the most iconic special edition systems of all time. And even though it's a really simple design, I also feel like it just looks really clean as well. And especially when you compare it to the rest of the DS Lite Special Edition system library, there's just no other DS Lite Special Edition that even comes close to this one. The 3DS XL Zelda Link Between Worlds Edition. This is probably my all-time favorite Nintendo Special Edition system ever. I absolutely love the design of this. Firstly, the front of the outer shell is just a beautiful gold design with the Triforce on it, and then on the underside of the system, it's black with the upside down Triforce, which is firstly great because I feel like the black and gold color scheme just go amazingly well together, but there's also another layer of this design which ties in really well with the Link Between Worlds game itself, and that is that the upper side of the outer shell is meant to represent Hyrule with its Triforce, and the bottom side of the outer shell is meant to represent Lorule with its upside down Triforce, and that just ties in perfectly with the game itself. This is definitely one of the best special edition systems of all time, and it's definitely the best Zelda special edition of all time. The 3DS XL Pokemon X and Y Gold Edition. The artwork on this system is just simply way ahead of any other special edition system Nintendo has ever made. It's just beautiful to look at. On the front here, we've got Xerneas on the left with the 3 starter Pokemon on the right, and the actual style of art with the trees and all of the leaves just looks absolutely beautiful in my opinion. And it gets even better because on the underside of the system, you've got Yveltal flying in the clouds there, with again the 3 starter Pokemon in the bottom left corner, and yeah, I just absolutely love this system. It's got a very unique style to it, and the black and gold color choice is just a perfect color combination for this style of art. It really does just pop out of the system, so in my opinion, this is the best Pokemon Special Edition system of all time, and it's one of the most unique Special Edition systems Nintendo has ever made as well. The 3DS XL Charizard Edition. I know I just said that the previous system was the best Pokemon Special Edition ever, but this one's still pretty good. We've got a black and gold design of Charizard on the front here, and what I really love about this system is the extended design that goes onto the bottom of the system. So if you look at the system like this, I just think this design is really special. So you've got Charizard here using Flamethrower or whatever fire attack he wants to use onto the bottom screen, and it just really pops out. And I don't know, that's pretty much it for this one. I just really love the extending artwork that goes across both screens. I know a few of the 3DS XL Special Editions do this, but I feel like this one does it the best. The 3DS XL Monster Hunter 4 Rajang Gold Edition. I feel like this may be a bit of a controversial one to have on this list because I personally really love this system, but I know when I made my 3DS XL Special Edition video, not many people in the comments really had much to say about this one, so I feel like it may be a bit of an underrated selection here, but yeah, I really like this one, and that is mainly for the design on the front here because I feel like it kind of looks like a monster has come up to this system and just slashed across the gold plate here, leaving behind a dark void. And I don't even know if that's really what this system is meant to represent, but that's kind of the vibe I get when I look at it. And I just feel like that's really cool, and you guys can probably tell by the selections in this video that I really do love the black and gold color scheme of a lot of these systems, and that's definitely still the case with this one. So yeah, this is definitely one of the best Special Edition systems Nintendo's ever made, in my opinion. The 3DS XL New Super Mario Bros. 2 Edition. In my opinion, this is the best Mario Special Edition system of all time. I just feel like this system encapsulates the franchise the best out of all of the Mario Special Editions we have to date. On the front here, we've got some gold artwork of Mario, and it kind of looks like he's running out of the system and jumping into your face here. And it's just a really nice design of Mario overall. And then you've got the red background, which is representative of Mario himself, as well as a few iconic symbols of the 2D Mario platformers. So on the right, you've got a pipe, you've got a bullet bill, a couple of coins, a question mark box, and a mushroom, and a few other bits and pieces across the background there, which I just think is a really nice ode to the 2D Mario games. And on the back of the system, you've got a very similar design, but with Luigi jumping out of the system, and you've also got a fire flower in the background and a sign with an arrow on it. I don't know. I just really like this system, and I think it's the best Mario Special Edition we have to date. The new 3DS XL Super Nintendo Entertainment System editions. Now, I've decided to include both the North American version and the PAL version together because they're both good for the exact same reasons. And those reasons are, firstly, they're both really aesthetically pleasing to look at, and secondly, both of these systems are pretty much perfect representations of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. As you can see here, we've got the PAL version next to the PAL SNES, and it's pretty much just a perfect representation of this console. It has all of the little details represented, and it's honestly pretty hard to tell the two apart when you look at them like this. And the same goes for the North American version. It's just such an amazing representation of this system. And that's all there really is to these ones. They're just the most aesthetically pleasing and accurate representations of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System that we could have possibly hoped for on a new 3DS XL. So these two systems, in my opinion, are up there with the very best Nintendo Special Edition systems. Anyways, that is it for today's video. I do hope you guys enjoyed this. If you thought my selections were absolutely horrendous, you should drop a comment down below and let me know which systems you think should be in this list. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, because obviously a lot of this is up to personal opinion and preferences, so I'm sure there's a few amazing systems out there that probably should have been on this list that I just didn't even think about, so I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about that. But anyways, there'll be a couple of my other videos on the screen right now to check out, and that is just about it for this one, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.